and welcome or welcome back to Juliet Pico Designs. I'm Jules, and this is my video diary series where I chat about what I'm knitting, what I'm designing, what I'm dyeing, and all my other crafty endeavors. We are here in April. It was freezing this morning. Doesn't quite feel like spring yet here in New England. The wind chill, I believe, when I left the house this morning was like 25. So still quite cold, but it is starting to look a little bit more like spring outside. There are daffodils blooming, and I have a bunch of yarn drying outside on my patio as we speak. I'll show you some footage of that in the middle of this diary. So yeah, it's approaching spring, I suppose, but it still very much feels like winter here. So I'm still wearing my woolly sweaters. And I'm honestly not complaining. I love winter. I don't really like spring and summer. I don't like really hot weather. I don't mind like warm weather. Obviously, it's nice to be able to like sit on the patio and knit. But I don't like heat wave weather. And so I just kind of feel like the longer we can stay in winter, the longer I can stay wearing my woolly jumpers, the better. So I have some finished objects and some new whips and some acquisitions to show you today. I also, you may have noticed, I am wearing a thumb brace on my right thumb. I don't know exactly what I did. I have hypermobility and I have a connective tissue disorder. So I'm kind of just always injuring myself. And my right thumb in particular is a common injury. I think I just bend the joint too much. I just use the joint too much. And it's like this joint here, this knuckle that has the problem. And it's only in my right hand, which is I am left-handed. But I think because of the way I hold my knitting and I'm constantly like pushing down with my right thumb, I think that causes problems and pain if I overdo it. So I am wearing a thumb brace. Sorry, it's not very cute. I'm hoping that it will clear up in the next couple of hours, actually, because I do have a tutorial video to film later today for a new pattern that's coming out next week that I will talk about. But yeah, I actually think I injured my thumb knitting the swatch for that tutorial video. Like I had to knit the swatch in preparation before I could show you the technique that I'm going to be doing the tutorial for. And it's magic loop, and it's kind of a tighter tension than I probably should have done. And yeah, so I hurt my thumb, but hopefully it just needs a few hours of rest and I'll be able to film that tutorial. I can still knit with it technically, especially like easier stuff like plain stockinette that I can kind of just use my pointer finger and middle finger for. But for the tutorial video, I really do need my thumb so I can like clearly show you guys what's going on. So yeah, so that's that. I also, well, actually, I just got my nails done because I was trying to make my nails all cute for this tutorial video. So I really need to film that tutorial video today because A, my nails never last as long as I want them to. So I want to film it while my nails are fresh. And B, I gotta get this pattern out. So I gotta get the tutorial done. So on that note, actually, let me tell you what that tutorial video is for. This is a little sneaky peek of a pattern that will be coming out next week in collaboration with Boston Fiber Company and Dirty Water Dye Works. This is a very special sneak preview because I don't know how much we're talking about it in advance. It's not really a secret, but yeah, these are the Finish Line socks. They'll be coming out on the 17th of April. And if you are in the Boston area, you might have figured out based on the color of the socks and the name of the socks and the date that they are coming out. These are our Boston Marathon socks. So we were doing a little Boston Marathon celebration. I'm going to put one of these down because without a thumb, it's actually quite hard to hold both of them. So these are kind of, still hard to hold. They're little shorty socks, little ankle socks, as you can see. And they have a contrast toe and a contrast cuff. And the cuff also has this fun little heel tab, which I thought was really cute and fun. And it was really fun to knit that. So I'm excited to share with you how I did that. It also has a tiny little bit of color work at the cuff and at the toe where the contrast color changes into the main color. I thought that was just a little more exciting than just straight changing colors. I wanted to give it a little bit more detail. So yeah, these are the Finish Line socks. They are a toe up sock. They have a Flegel heel, which is this heel where you start increasing here while you're still knitting the instep, like you're still knitting all the way around. And then so you increase to here, and then here is where you do like short rows to decrease back, do the sort of heel turn. And then the technique that I'll be doing this tutorial for is the cuff is like a fold over cuff. So I'll be showing you how to pick up stitches, knit them together, to fold over the cuff, and then to bind off without creating too tight of a bind off on the inside of the sock. So that will be coming out on the 17th of April. Boston Fiber Company will be selling kits using the Dirty Water Dye Works yarn. This is Dirty Water Dye Works. She's a local dyer. Her name is Stephanie. She's really nice. And this is the Lillian Plus, which is a superwash merino and nylon blend. And if you know me, you know I don't usually work with superwash, but I do think it does have some, it has its uses, right? And I know a lot of people do prefer it for socks. And honestly, like I do have some superwash socks that I still wear. Most of the socks I knit these days are non-superwash, just as a personal preference. But I know people like to just throw their socks in the washing machine. They don't want to be hand washing their socks. So the colorways, as you can see, are the Boston Marathon official colorways. So we have the blue here is cerulean, and then the yellow is called Strong for Boston Strong. So yeah, that is coming soon. And definitely check out Boston Fiber Company for those kits. So that's that. My other finished object that I have is, I haven't woven in the ends yet, so it's not quite finished. But all the knitting is done, and I've just taken it off the blocking mats. This is my Simply the Vest V-neck, which is a pattern I published a couple years ago. And I wanted to make another version. I wanted to make a slightly more cropped version. And this one also, this one doesn't have a split hem. It just has a normal hem. So there's a few modifications. It's also, it has a contrast collar and hem and everything, which I didn't do on the first one, but that's really easy to do. This one is in the Junction Fiber Mill Making Tracks in their, or the main color is their 2024 Rhinebeck colorway, which is the cider donut. So you can see it's these lovely sort of warm orange, brown, kind of, there's like a gray brown mixed with like pops of like really bright orange. So it's just very autumnal and nice. I like it a lot. And then the contrast is the Junction Fiber Mill Roots, which is their like solid colors. And this is, I don't know if it has a colorway name necessarily. I think it's just the undyed or natural or whatever. But yeah. So that's the roots. And then this is 2 skeins of the apple cider donut, or it's just called cider donut, I think. But yeah, so I'm excited to wear that. I just wanted another version, because I kind of, my first version is in Great Bay Woolworks, their marled yarn. I love a marled yarn. But that one I find I don't wear super often because that shade of gray kind of washes me out. And I also really like using it as a sample at markets and stuff. So I kind of it's kind of my nice, pretty, pristine sample that I don't wear very often. Whereas this one, I think I'll wear a little bit more. So I'm excited about that. Especially now that the weather is getting slightly warmer later in the day. I'll be able to wear it like over t-shirts and stuff. So that'll be fun. Okay, whips. So that's all my finished objects, I believe. I don't have any other finished objects that are like lying around. So I'm assuming that I don't have any other finished objects. If that's incorrect, I will put it in the next video diary. So whips. So I believe I talked about this whip, I talked about it before it was a whip in my last diary, because I had just purchased the, again, Dirty Water Dye Works, one of my faves, the shimmer mohair. I had just bought it from Gather Here, and I bought it to go with the West Yorkshire Spinners Croft, which is this guy here. This is the Croft DK. And then with the shimmer mohair is a lace weight. So it's kind of like a light worsted weight together, or a worsted weight. And I am re-knitting another sample of my Just So Classic raglan. It's hard to see here because it's all scrunched up, but it is, I really don't know if you can see this. It's working up really nicely. I really like how the mohair and the Croft are sort of blending together here. It's just creating such a fun fabric. And this is just a basic top-down raglan. I did, for this version, I did do a fold-over collar, which I didn't do in the first version because this pattern, this Just So Classic pattern that I'm sort of in the process of reworking right now, I actually published it, I think, 6 years ago, and it just wasn't up to my current standards. So I discontinued the pattern. I'm rewriting it, republishing it. And so the first sample I did with the republished version was actually a sample for Boston Fiber Company, because we're using this pattern in our My First Sweater knitting class. So I made a sample for the store so that the store would have an example of the sweater that you would make in class. And that one doesn't have a fold over collar because I'm finding a lot of the students, I want this pattern to be like really accessible for beginners. Like I truly want it to be like a My First Sweater type pattern. And so I found some of my students are kind of coming from like they're just doing like 1 or 2 projects and then coming to the sweater class. And so there's still like a lot to learn, and doing the fold over collar on top of learning all the other things you need to learn for a sweater was just like a bit much. So I'm going to have one version that does not have a fold over collar and one version that does have the fold over collar, and that'll be an option in the pattern. So you can choose which one you want. So yeah, so that's coming along nicely. And it knits up really quickly. These are actually, these are US 10s, so 6mm needles. The actual pattern, so this is maybe not going to be my official sample for this version because this is on a slightly smaller gauge than the pattern. So this is more just like for me, I just wanted another version. I might knit another sample. I'm going to have like so many samples of this sweater, but the reason I called it Just So Classic is because it is just such a classic sweater. So I kind of want I just want a bunch of versions of this sweater. It's so easy to wear. So yes, that's my Just So Classic. Working away at that. Quick knit. But I also want that one to be slightly oversized. So I was like, you know, it's quick knitting, but it is a lot of knitting. So we'll see how fast that goes. I'm also doing like 20 projects at once right now. I only have 2 whips to show you, but I'm working on so many other things behind the scenes. I have been like casting on and then like putting stuff away like crazy. I've just been, yeah, it's my brain is all over the place right now. And I just am trying to do like way too many things. And I have so many things on hold. So most of my whips might be very slow moving whips, even if they are like actually technically quick knits. That being said, the one I'm going to show you next, I'm hoping to have finished like by next week. So, this is, doesn't look like much right now. And actually my roommate saw it last night and asked if I was knitting a thong. So, which fair enough based on how it looks. It's really hard to show you because it's all curled up here. But this is another version of my boucle tank. So I have only just started the back. So this is one triangle of the back, and then, oops, I'm losing stitches here, hang on. So that's one triangle, and then I'm just starting on the second triangle of the back. I'll put a picture of my boucle tank so you know what I'm talking about, because it's just a V-neck, V-neck on both sides, on the back and front. And it just has these little I-cord straps, and then it's just like a really easy, like flowy tank top with a little picot bind off at the end. So my first version is knit in 2 strands of mohair held double. And I usually wear it like over a t-shirt or something. This version I wanted to use, this is actually my own naturally dyed yarn. So you can kind of see here, it is my alpaca silk boucle. If you can see. It's a fingering weight, so it's really thin. That's my label. I'm actually going to be redoing my labels soon too, so that's not really relevant. I just thought I'd mention it. But yeah, so it's a fingering weight. It's 77% baby alpaca, 23% silk. And it's a pretty standard fingering weight. It's 437 yards per 100 grams. And I got this yarn when I first sort of started getting serious about dyeing, and actually like selling yarn as sort of the primary product when I'm at markets and stuff. So I got this yarn kind of as an experiment, just to like see what it was like. And it's pretty expensive. So I didn't think that I would sell it like at all. I started with just 10 skeins and I was like, oh, nobody's gonna buy this because it's so expensive. And I sold out of it like pretty quickly. So that was interesting, but surprising, but in a very good way. So I put aside a couple skeins for myself. So I reordered, and I've been dyeing it. And I put aside a couple skeins for myself because this yarn, more so than any other yarn that I've ever carried, people ask me what to do with it. They're like, what do you even do with that? And I was kind of like, I don't know, whatever you want. That's not a very useful sales tactic though. So I was telling people, I was like, I've swatched with it and I've done like just pretty much stockinette. Like you don't really want to do anything too complicated. I tried holding this double like with like 2 different colors to try to do a marled boucle thing, and it kind of worked, but it was kind of weird. So I just decided that I wanted a simple project to show people what can be done with this. And I didn't want it to take too much yardage because it is expensive. And so, you know, people are kind of buying 1 or 2 skeins at a time. So, and I already had my Bialtina tank done. And so I decided that I would knit a sample of my Bialtina using this yarn. So the Bialtina is also knit on 6mm needles, I believe. Yes, 6mm or US 10 needles. So it's a very loose gauge. And with the mohair, of course, that like, it's sort of just very open and airy. With this, I was a little worried that it like wouldn't work as well because it is a fingering weight. It's like a true fingering weight, but it's actually working up really nicely. I really like the fabric that it's creating because the boucle does just give it a little more volume. It is, of course, obviously, like it's still like sheer, like you wouldn't be wearing this with nothing underneath it. But the Bialtina tank isn't really meant to be like the only garment you're wearing. It's a layering piece. It's meant to be worn over a t-shirt or over a tank top. And so for this one, the mohair one, I always wear it over a t-shirt because in warmer weather, I don't really want like mohair next to my skin. Even though I don't mind like the sensation of mohair usually in the winter, but in the summer, if it's hot, I don't want that right on my skin. I want a barrier between me and the fabric. So I wear it over a t-shirt usually. With this one, it is alpaca, but it's really soft. And this one I could totally see wearing closer to my skin. So I think I'll have to see when it's finished, but I'm gonna try styling it with just like little camis underneath, kind of. So I don't want to be indecent, but I think this could be kind of more on its own than the mohair version. So we'll see. But yeah, so this, I want to have the sample done before my next market. So I've been dyeing a bunch of this alpaca silk boucle for my next market, which is the 25th of April at Gore Place. It's the Gore Place Sheep Shearing Festival in Waltham, Mass. So I've been dyeing up a bunch of this. I'm really excited to start carrying it again. And yeah, I want to have this sample done. My first Bialtina sample I knit in 3 days because again, it's US 10 needles, very loose gauge, and it is just like a little camisole tank top thing. So pretty quick knit. So we'll see how quickly I can get it done. Probably not 3 days, given that I actually started this 3 days ago. But definitely will be done before the 25th of April. So, oh, and this one is, this one's dyed with Kutch. So it's that sort of caramelly brown, which I love. I love Kutch. But I'll have loads of colors at Gore Place. I actually just did a marigold dye pot, and it is like stunning. It's like such a deep yellow. It's gorgeous. So can't wait to show you that. Actually, I might insert some footage here of that because it is just so beautiful. So that is that whip. And those are actually the only 2 whips that I have to show you right now. I do have like other stuff on my needles, but it's either stuff I haven't made progress on since the last time I showed you, or it's just like barely even, like I'm still sort of swatching. So it's just not even worth showing you yet. But I am working on a lot of stuff. I'm very excited to show you eventually. But now let's talk about acquisitions, what I've bought. I do have, one project is not knitting. So let me show you. Actually, 2 of my projects are not knitting, but this one. This, as you can see, is a baseball cap. I've been wanting a new baseball cap, and I'm just like not super into like repping brands that I don't have a connection to, you know? Like I don't want some like corporation on my baseball cap. I don't want like a sports team. You know, it's just not really my thing. So I got a plain baseball cap, and then I got some cotton threads, pearl cotton. I got these from Gather Here, my local yarn and fabric shop in Cambridge, Mass. So I got these, and I got this from DMC. This is just, I don't know if you can really see what it is, but this is waist canvas. So if you're familiar with cross stitch at all, you usually will cross stitch on Aida cloth, which is, it's a cloth that has like grids so that you can do the cross stitches across the grid. And because they're grids, you can like count each little square. And so you have your cross stitch pattern, which is all your little squares. And then you can just do your cross stitches over your little grid. This is slightly different because like with normal cross stitch, you'll just cross stitch onto the Aida cloth, and that's your cross stitch, like that's the fabric. You are cross stitching onto the Aida, and like that is the finished product is on the Aida cloth. This is waist canvas, so that you can, it's still got the grid, but you can basically, you cut out a little square of this and baste it onto your, the actual fabric that you want to be using for your project. So it can either be like fabric that you're then gonna like sew into something else, or you can stitch it onto something that already exists, like an existing piece of clothing, or in this case, a baseball cap. So my plan is to cross stitch. Well, and it's not technically cross stitch. So I've been learning to do Palestinian tetris, which is a Palestinian type of embroidery, cross stitch type embroidery. And I have a few friends who in a local Palestinian advocacy group that I'm in, who have been talking about tetris a lot, and they've been showing me the most gorgeous patterns. And tetris is very often stitched onto other fabric. So you'll see like a lot of people will do tetris onto their keffiyehs, or they will do the traditional Palestinian thobe, which is those dresses you see that have like the cool like embroidered yokes. That is tetris done onto a fabric using a waist canvas. So I have been following this account on Instagram called Tetris Traditions, and they have on their website they have a whole like library of motifs, because each motif in Tetris has like a history, has a meaning. They're often associated with specific areas of Palestine. So you'll have, each little city, each little village will have its own special motifs that are representative of either, sort of the ecology of that space or the history of that space. So it's really, really cool to explore. There's also like tutorials on how to do Tetris if you don't know how to already. So I went on there, I was looking through the motifs, and I decided on a flower motif from Ramallah. And I'll put a picture of it here so you can see what I'm talking about. All of these motifs are free, by the way, on tetristraditions.com. So you can just go and look up any of these motifs. They also have beginner kits too, if you want to buy a kit. But yeah, so I'm going to stitch a little flower from Ramallah onto my baseball cap. And then I will have a nice, meaningful baseball cap that is not just some random corporation. And so I'm going to use these two colors. This is going to be the petals of the flower. And then this is going to be the center of the flower, which I kind of, I copied off of the motif library. Like those were they were kind of these colors. Tetris Traditions has like the DMC like numbers. So if you want to use like exactly the same threads that they use, you can get them from DMC. But I wanted to just get these locally. So I just picked similar colors. And yeah, and I think they're going to go well on this sort of olivey green hat. So yeah, that's that. Okay, that is one acquisition. Another non-knitting acquisition. I will insert footage from this as well. But last weekend, my roommate and I took a little day trip. We went to Wakefield, Mass, and then Salem, Mass. And the reason we went to Wakefield, because we were kind of just we wanted to go to Salem. We love Salem. But the reason we wanted to go to Wakefield is because a friend of mine, Sarah, has a little pop-up store for her business, which is Forager Fabrics. And she has a little pop-up store in Wakefield. So I wanted to go see her because she's only there, I think, through May. It's through Project Pop-Up. I believe it's through Project Pop-Up. But anyway, so she has a cute little fabric store. And I got some 100% linen. You can't really, it's hard to see on camera. It's actually very similar to the color of my baseball cap and to the sweater that I'm currently wearing. Oops, I guess I'm in kind of an olive green mood. But this is 100% linen. I got it for a really good deal. And it is just this gorgeous sort of gray green. And I'm gonna make a little summer dress out of it. I kind of, as I was saying earlier, I kind of hate summer. I kind of hate like heat wave weather. So I am just gonna sew myself a dress to cheer myself up when it's too hot to move outside. I'll have a nice little linen dress to cheer me up. So I'm excited about that. I haven't quite chosen a pattern yet. I think I have in my library, it's a free pattern from Helen's Closet. It's the orchard dress. I think I'm gonna try to use that, but I'm gonna do so that there's an orchard top and then an orchard dress. I think I'm gonna do the orchard top, but then do a skirt for it, but I want it to be like gathered at the waist and look kind of like a tiered dress. I might do like multiple tiers. I might just do one tier. I'm not 100% sure because the orchard dress on its own is just like, what do you call that? There's no gathering, there's no tiers. It's just like a straight piece of fabric, which is very cute. But I've found that on me, I don't love the look of it as much. So I'd rather have some gathering or some tiers or something. So yeah, I think I'm gonna try to hack that a little bit because I really do I like the top of the orchard dress or the orchard top. I like the way it looks. So we'll see what I end up doing with that because I'm not an expert sewist. So we might have to do some experimenting. But yeah, I'm excited for that project. And then right next to Forager Fabrics in Wakefield is the Creative Chaos Emporium, which is a thrift store for like craft supplies. So it's kind of like Make and Mend in Somerville, if you're familiar with that. But they had some Brooklyn Tweed Loft for $7.50. And it's the colorway Snowbound, which is not my favorite color because it's a very cool gray. But I have had good luck with over dyeing some of Brooklyn Tweed's cool grays. I did this with one of their it was the quarry. So it was the woolen spun, but it was the chunkier one. And I dyed it with Kutch. I love Kutch. And it turned out really nice. So I think I might be able to over dye this. And I don't have any plans for this. And I normally don't buy yarn if I don't have plans for it. But it's Brooklyn tweed. I love Brooklyn tweed. I love the woolen spun line. And because it's discontinued, I just had to snap it up. Yeah, they stopped making yarn. And they just do patterns. And I just couldn't resist because I just love the feel of it. It's so soft. It's a Targhee Columbia wool. It's all sourced from the US, and it's so soft and so nice. And so I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I will probably over dye it and do something special with it because I love Brooklyn tweed yarn. I'm so sad that they stopped making yarn. So yeah, I couldn't pass that up. And then I also picked up from Creative Chaos Emporium a cone of the Harrisville Designs Shetland. This is their fingering weight yarn. And if you've watched my last couple of videos, you'll probably be aware of my loon sweater, my heated Ravelry reference. That is knit in the Shetland from Harrisville. And I still have several, I have a couple cones of that, and I have several skeins of that in various colors. And it's really good for knitting on the machine. I have a KX 350 flatbed knitting machine. And I've been wanting to do more experiments with like colorwork patterns, stranded colorwork patterns on the machine. And so I just figured I'd grab this cone just to have another color, another yarn to practice with. So I'm gonna hopefully start experimenting with some stranded colorwork designs. I don't know what colorway this is. It's definitely an older cone because it's a different label. Oh, it's the colorway Fawn. So yeah, it's this sort of medium gray, but kind of like tweedy, like there's some other bits in there. It's a nice color. So I'm excited for that. And then, okay, the last thing I got while we were out and about. So when we went to Salem, we went to the Peabody Essex Museum to see the Edmonia Lewis exhibit, which was very cool. And then we went out to lunch, and then after lunch, we went to Circle of Stitches, which is a witchy little yarn shop right on the wharf in Salem. And I picked up this Knitting for Olive Pure Silk. So this is 100% silk, fingering weight. And this is the colorway Copper. And I got 4 balls. I only have 3 right here because the other one is currently on my machine. I am swatching with this on my knitting machine because I want to just make like a plain sort of t-shirt, like just sort of a very basic boxy t-shirt sort of thing. Because I think that would be really fun to have just like a summer sweater that I can wear in the warmer months. Because again, I don't love the warm weather, but unfortunately we do have warm weather here in Boston. So I have to make the most of it. And I think I will really enjoy having like a silk t-shirt. And I really like this copper color. It's one of my favorite colors. So yeah, I'm hoping that goes well. I think my plan for this t-shirt is actually to kind of do something very similar to what I did with my loon sweater and just do like just a drop shoulder, kind of oversized, and then obviously short sleeves rather than full length sleeves. But then, yeah, and then just kind of do like a crew neck collar. I might do fold over collars. We'll see. I might do ribbing. But yeah, I kind of just want that basic sort of drop shoulder shape. Most of my sweaters are kind of that shape anyway, just sort of a boxy shape. There's no like shaping in the body at all. That's kind of my preferred style right now. It's just easy to wear, easy to throw on over anything. So yeah, I'm thinking I'll just do that and hopefully it'll work with the silk. I've never knit with 100% pure silk before, so we'll see how it goes. We'll see what the drape and the shaping and everything is like. So yeah, that's that. That's it for this diary, I believe. Sorry if you just heard my knuckle crack there. I can't believe Ghost never joined us. This is crazy. This is the first time in the history of JPD video diaries that Ghost hasn't made an appearance. Hopefully she'll be back next time. I've kind of enjoyed not having her interrupt, but I know when I go to edit this, I'll be sad that I don't get to see her cute little face. So maybe I'll just put a picture of Ghost here, just so you guys don't forget what she looks like. But yeah, thank you for joining me. If you want to find my patterns, they're on my website. They're on Ravelry. I have naturally dyed yarn and knitting kits for sale on my website as well. If you follow me on Instagram, I will be posting some of these projects, although actually these days I'm posting much less on Instagram and I am actually focusing more on YouTube. So if you're here on YouTube, follow me here, subscribe here. And yeah, I've been posting a lot of the stuff I've been posting on Instagram. I will also post on YouTube Shorts, which is very fun. I'm enjoying that. Yeah, and sign up for my mailing list. I send out just a little note every week about sort of what's going on, what my latest project is, where you can find me in person. Because yeah, right now the only thing I have upcoming, I believe, is the Gore Place Sheep Shearing Festival on the 25th of April. So if you are in the Boston area, do stop by. That's going to be a fun one. It's also, unfortunately, it's on the same day as the Connecticut Sheep and Wool in North Haven, Connecticut. It's also the same weekend as the Fiber Witch Festival in Salem, which is an amazing festival. So I highly recommend you go to that one if you can. And also if you can get down to Connecticut, that's a fun one. But yeah, I think I personally am going to try to go to Fiber Witch on the Sunday because I'll be at Gore Place myself on the Saturday. So yeah, that I think is that. If you're enjoying these videos, please like and subscribe. You can leave a comment for me down below. Tell me what you're working on. Yeah, I also have a Ko-fi. If you see value here, you are always welcome to drop me a little Ko-fi money to help keep the show running. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time. Bye.